do the roll call.
Well, the boat's leaning a little bit today.
What's that?
Boat's
The
leaning?
boat's leaning?
Oh, it is. Too much weight on one side, I guess. Been there, done that.
It is.
Okay, we'll get started here. This is the Washington Area Transportation Committee meeting. It is Monday, June 28th, 2021. Gina, can we have a roll call, please?
Craig Miller,
Here.
Ed Fisher, Stephen O'Connor,
Here.
Ray Frankenberg,
Here.
Bob Ingeman,
Here.
Bill Stratman,
Here.
Mayor Lucy,
Here,
Joe Holtmeyer, Danny Cassette, Elby Eckelkamp, Bill Miller,
Here.
Tim Brinker, Steve Sullentrup,
Here.
John Nilges.
Here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, all, and to our newcomers, thank you for coming. Visitors, let's get right into it. Approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review them? I'll tell you, there's a lot in there. When they transcribe the meeting, word for word off of a tape, I guess, it's very interesting to remember what you said in many cases. In addition to, it's great. I think it's great.
It is. I want to appreciate that.
I do appreciate it too. I'm not sure whether, Gina, did you do that? Thank you very much.
It's got to take time, but,
know.
and I'm not going to nitpick on the punctuation because it's
No.
awesome to have
Well,
the
we have a
words.
software program now that types it all out for us, so it picks up everything you say, okay? So
And
Yep.
it
if you
picks it
don't
up.
want it in the minutes, don't say it.
And it picks it up. I think it has trouble with T's and V's.
Yeah, and lobby versus levy.
Yeah, whatever. close.
Yeah, but you can usually figure it out.
I know,
you
I know, yep.
So it's kind of like,
So,
oh, okay.
Again, thank you.
That's good.
Again for getting. Have a motion to
Second.
approve.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, first item on the agenda. Amtrak.
Amtrak. We had a more packed meeting. I missed the last meeting. I apologize for that. But right around that same time, we all know they did pass our legislation to get some funding back for Amtrak. Amtrak then went through their process, and they've restored service starting July 19th for the two trains that we were hopeful to get back. And that's going through December of 2021, which gets them through their busy season, and they're going to reevaluate after that. Other stuff they discussed, that's the big news, obviously, but other stuff they discussed at that meeting is new coach cars coming probably middle of August. We'll see them on the River Runner. They have upgraded seats, and they're obviously new or new to us, refurbished. But they'll have more bike racks, things like that for the passenger type that we have right now anyway. Food cars, newer food cars are looking maybe in the earliest of 2022. There was some talks. They're trying to gather momentum to make one of our Missouri trains continue KC, St. Louis, up to Chicago, and try to have a train for that to improve Illinois, Missouri ridership. It's just kind of in the talk phase right now, but they are looking to try to make that happen, which is cool. Had a kind of a rough, the last on-time performance kind of trails a little bit was, but we had a little bit of a rough patch. It was 80% on-time performance. They had some, Union Pacific was doing some track work in Sedalia, which had put a number of trains behind. But that seems to be cleared up currently. And then they're running a promotion July through September, 35% off. So go buy your Amtrak tickets if you want to travel during that time.
Very good. Any questions, comments for Craig? Hearing none, we'll move on. Highway 47, Missouri River Bridge.
I did talk to the resident engineer on Thursday, and he said the lighting has been fixed. So he said everything is done and to his satisfaction, so I think we're good with everything on the bridge.
Okay, so I went down and looked at the lighting on Friday evening, and the center pier is dark. Did you, Steve is nodding. Did you say the same thing? See the same thing? Yes, the
But it was
center
on, yes,
pier.
Saturday night.
They all run together. Whatever. Well, I think it was Friday night when I did, but Saturday night, I didn't look in. But the center pier is dark, and there's supposed to be a wash on all of them.
Okay. I'll have to talk to our resident engineer and
Okay.
take a look at it.
Now that they do have it fixed, does the warranty start now, or how's that work?
The whole project will have to be accepted then the warranty
Yeah, we have to
will kick
accept
in.
it.
How long is that?
I believe it's a year warranty.
Yeah, I was going to, just so everyone knows, I was going to get with Tim Hellebush and get a summary of what that warranty period is and what it looks like and once acceptance happens. I'll be honest with you, the warranties all run together. This has been going on for 3 years, and I don't remember right this second. And I hate to say something wrong, but that was my goal one day today, or today, was to send an email out and just summarize everything all over again per the contract documents and all those things. I don't recall sitting here what they are, but I do believe it is a year. We get, I believe, 10% of all the fixtures also gets essentially given to the city, so we'll have to find a spot to store those. I've not done that yet either, so there's some things that have to be worked out yet. Just keep in mind, there is some sort of an animation, I guess would be the best way to say it. There's 4 different settings throughout the year. The 4th of July is one of those, so July 4th, luckily through this little trial period, it should automatically run some sort of an animation on the girders themselves that will simulate fireworks of some sort. So just kind of keep an eye out on that. It should be seamless. It's the first time we've got to experience it, so be a good little trial. So keep your eye out for that.
What time will that come on, John? Is it,
That's a good question. It's, I believe it runs at, I think it's a half hour before dusk. I think it's all, it's, tied in with, GPS satellite, those type of things on timing. And then I believe it runs to midnight.
till midnight?
Yeah, I think that's,
Now, the longest running animation would be the month of December. There's more of a, it's like a snowflake, style where it's a little slower, simulates snowflakes. I don't know, but that'll actually, I
use
believe,
your
run.
imagination a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's it looks nice, and we've only seen it on a computer screen, so it's not that we've seen it actually on the bridge itself. Otherwise, you would have seen it. But that'll run the entire month of December. So there's a few of them scattered throughout the year. I can get you those updates and what they are. I just don't recall them. I would, it's kind of something exciting. You'll see different. So
Well, I think it's great that the finality of the new bridge is happening now. This is the last piece, I guess, that was left of that process. And it's great to get to this point. Thank MoDOT for,
and I will.
you're with us.
And what I could do, like I said, let me summarize everything. I can get you all those answers. I just don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, it might be good for the public to understand what's gonna happen and what to look for and whatever. They're interested too, a lot, I think, in the new bridge. So, anyway. Next item, any comments for John and/or anyone on the committee? Highway 47 Corridor Committee. Tim? I do that.
We've not met since the last meeting, and I don't know if there's an update.
All right, moving on. Franklin County Transportation Committee. John?
Same with that. We've not met since our last meeting. I will say, Washington did submit a grant application to put some guardrails and some bridge abutment safety items along 8th Street, along Bush Creek, 8th Jefferson. If you notice, there's some wood bollards that have been there for decades. They're rotted out. It was a safety item, so we thought it'd be a good little safety item to request or hopefully get some dollars to just put up a guardrail along Bush Creek right there. We have had some accidents along the area. I do think it's wise probably just to continue that, and it would provide some sort of a safety item, so.
Yeah. Any comments for John? Moving on, Northeast District, Warren County. Joe, Eric, either one? Nothing happening over there?
Lots of rain.
Lots of rain, yes.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, the next section. How much?
About 11 inches up north Friday night.
Yeah, so that's gonna come down.
Like in Lincoln County up there?
Lots of rain, lot of roads.
Yeah.
Anything?
So it was 11, wow.
Anything will happen down here, Joe? Anything you've heard?
I heard the river was 24.3. I heard it going down today.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, there's a lot of trash on the riverfront. The boat owners are out punching
Pushing
logs.
trash.
So if we can keep that river in its banks, let's hope.
Yeah, they downgraded it a little bit. So.
Yes. All right, Washington Special Road District. Ed is not here. Any comments? Anybody have anything?
no, the only thing I'd say is, I know Washington Special Road District is working on doing some maintenance projects, and the city and them are coordinating a few of those. If you know, Washington Special Road District city limits meanders on a couple of these roadways. South Point is a really good example where city limits actually goes in and out and kind of all around South Point Road. So the jurisdictions change a lot. So any future maintenance projects that happens on South Point, whether it be the city or the special road district, we're doing a much better job coordinating those. So if pavers and mills and things are on the streets, we'll take care of our portion as well in the city. Just, we might as well make the whole roadway new when one of the entities, you know, does some work. So there's just a pretty good line of communication going right there.
Any comments, questions? Hearing none. Old Highway 100 Bridge. Steve, can you bring us up to date?
I mean, we have it as a future project in 2025, 2026, so it's out there, but we've not done any.
There hasn't been any
design on
plan, design, or anything happened yet?
No.
But as I understand it, there is a study that is happening, a study that's happening on that?
Well, for the bridge, there's
The
not.
bridge,
I
there's
mean,
not. Okay.
mean,
I
we
thought
just
you had
have
a
to-
design crew or somebody hired.
I mean, we'll do some survey, we'll get some information, and we'll either decide, I'm sure we'll get a consultant to design
Okay.
that bridge, but we're not at that stage yet.
Okay.
When you do the 2026, is that like a construction date, or is that the date you would start the consultants?
No, construction.
Okay.
What do you think the projected cost for that bridge would be?
I think initially we had like $1.2 million.
If we found some kind of funding between now and say a year or so, between the county, special road district, and the city of Washington, and we put the money forward and get the money back from MoDOT, would that be possible?
I mean, if you're gonna like fund the project much quicker, I mean, we still have to get it designed, so we'd have to talk to our design people and our management to see what we could do.
Mr. Chair, I have Jim Grudge, our highway administrator from Franklin County here today. He's got a report just brand new from
Yes.
Do you want to come to the podium,
Yes, come up
please?
to the podium.
Let me know. No.
Good morning, I'm Jim Grutch, the Highway Administrator for Franklin County. Over the early winter, or the winter season, MoDOT conducted bridge surveys for all the bridges in Franklin County. That information was released last Wednesday, and in that packet was Old Highway 100. They are maintaining the 16-ton weight limit for the next 2 years, and they are saying it's a 27% efficiency rating. So the efficiency rating is going down on the bridge that was built in 1939. As we all know, it's deteriorating, but that's why the bridge needs to be replaced. And at that time, the projected cost at this time is $1.1 million. And this report is from MoDOT, Kate Williams. So I just wanted to let you know, this just came out.
Okay, that's interesting. Isn't there something about when, am I dreaming, that when things get below 50% is when MoDOT starts looking at the efficient, you know, because it's at 27, but isn't there, John, we've talked about that before.
You know, I don't remember, again, I don't recall the exact number, but there is a benchmark, I guess, that you can apply for. It's called BRM funds, which is very similar to like STP, your 80/20 cost shares. That's how the city's been replacing their bridges over time. That's a federal grant that is administered by MoDOT. MoDOT even applies for those fundings at times. So they, you know, you could apply for those. It's no different than an STP. You apply for those grant funds, 80/20, takes you 4 to 5 years to get it constructed, those type of things. So it's kind of one of those, how fast do you need it? Do you fund it 100%? Those type of things. So.
Okay, I knew there was a number.
But yeah, and
Well,
that is tied to that number.
Okay,
I just
that's what I
don't
thought.
remember.
Yeah, I don't know the exact
Yeah.
criteria when it does fall into the
Yeah.
must be replaced point, but it is, they did report that it is at the 27% rating.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for that information.
Jim, just
You-
one
you
question.
mentioned-
Do you
Yes, yes, sir.
envision this bridge to be a complete replacement where the old one is knocked down and out of commission permanently and a new one like next to it or whatever? How do you see this?
I would think it would go on the same footprint.
So the bridge would have to be, my question is the bridge going to have to be closed for probably the time period it is to build it? It won't be
Yes.
open, it will not be usable.
Yeah, sure.
That's important.
That is correct.
Important for the school district.
And with the 16-ton weight limit, the use is restricted at this point.
Yes.
What will the new bridge weight ton limit be?
It should be unlimited. I would believe it would be unlimited initially.
I mean, there's a limit.
Legal
I
loads.
think
Legal
our new
loads are
bridge is 80,
11.2
isn't
tons
it?
per axle.
In our new bridge 80.
I don't know. I mean, legal loads, whatever those are. I don't.
Yeah, you can't be over
Yeah, there would not be any limits as long as it's within legal
within
limits.
what the highway would sustain, the legal limit.
For purposes of argument, how long would this take, could this take? I mean, to rebuild, demolish the old one, rebuild a new one, and put it back into service? How long a period of time would you estimate that whole bridge area would be out of commission? Or the road would be closed, quite honestly?
Physically, it's been my experience, if everything was all lined up and everything was ready, all the contracts were obtained, and construction would start in March, you could have it open by November of that year. That's probably in a perfect world, but there also are variables there with the river. You're right at the river level, so.
Right, you're right there.
There can be floods in June and July that will cause havoc.
Everything.
So suffice to say that that bridge, at some point in the future, near future, is going to be closed for probably up to a year?
That's
Well,
very
it's not like they'll be
reasonable.
able to repair it.
Well, that's
I
what I'm
mean,
asking. That's why I'm asking. You can build it right next to it, or you can replace it and
It's the only
keep
way
it
they
open.
can do it.
And to
Well,
build
we
it
had to
next to it will
close our
take right away.
bridges.
Yeah, I mean,
We closed our bridges here when we replaced them.
you know, Commissioner,
And it doesn't lead to a dead-end road. You can go around to St. John's Road and come in that way.
Well, it's going to depend somewhat on the impact of the detour too, and the cost of right-of-way and all that.
Yeah,
Because
there's
you're
a
going to
lot
build
of
extra road
variables.
whenever you offset it, because you got to build the new road over to it.
There is no road off of that section.
There are no other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I would just add one more thing. There's going to be a pretty significant amount of coordination here, because city limits is actually the center line of the Bush Creek, or DuBois Creek, I'm sorry, to the west, and the county is to the east. But MoDOT owns the structure. So, you know, we own the street. I'm gonna spin around here. We own the actual street on this side toward the treatment plant, which we'd have to coordinate that. Again, I'd want to build a new roadway to the bridge if we were going to do something, just plan for that. And I know there's some issues, I think, on the county side going to the east with, you know, sinking guardrail and some other things that they deal with. So it's going to take it's a good project because there's three entities there that we ought to be able to work together and get a good project done. Oh, thank you for that. Apologize for that. I forget the road district. Right, but luckily,
That's all we need.
it would seem that us talking about it and identifying, you know, the ownership in those things could lead to a pretty efficient project, and get a good roadway, you know, built to the east, so.
Very good. All right, thank you all for the comments and the input. Steve, it's all in your hands, so to speak. All right.
When the state gave Old Highway 100 to the county, they didn't give the bridge to the county.
Yeah, so what happened is the city owns, again, the county and the city limits is the center line of DuBois Creek, from what I understand, okay? When that happened, everything west of that obviously was in city limits. We acquired the right-of-way to the west. Everything to the east of it was in the county's jurisdiction. However, the bridge structure, the structure itself, was never transferred over legally in 66, I believe, 1966. So it never occurred. So MoDOT, from what the research we've all done, still owns the bridge and is, I guess, responsible for the maintenance and replacement of that bridge. Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
Long
we had
way-
to do some research.
long way to
find out
get
that it's
there,
not-
but-
That it is still ours.
And ideally, what would happen is once the structure was replaced, it would seem to make sense we all work together, figure out who owns the structure moving forward, just to clean all this stuff up that's, you know, 50, 60 years in the making. So,
This might be a good place to, as we talked about the old bridge and what's going to happen there, to speak about the new school opening and the transporting of kids and people, whatever, to the new school. Tim Porter is here with us, and Tim is with First Student. I guess he's coordinating First Student and the buses. Tim, if you would, come up to the podium and give us a little report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Tim Porter. I'm with First Student, and over the last several months, we've been looking at options for transporting students to the new elementary school. Basically, what we have lined out is we have 5 regular ed buses, we have 3 sped buses, possibly 4, that will be transporting. In the AM, there's 2 viable routes, obviously, old 100 and new 100. Statistically speaking, new 100, the highway, is the safest route until you get to an intersection that's not controlled. Second choice is going to be old 100. Statistically speaking, is not the safest, just based on the fact that it is a 2-lane road, and that at some points, you can get buses through there. Some concerns we have, like we were just speaking about the bridge, on the old Highway 100 bridge, with a 16-ton capacity, 32,000 pounds, a fully loaded bus is about 30,000 pounds. So if you have multiple buses going across there, we'd have to do a couple of things. We'd have to stagger buses so we don't have 2 buses on the bridge at a time. If we have buses meeting with other large vehicles, someone's going to have to give right-of-way, because we won't be able to have a bus and a dump truck, or a bus and a semi, whatever travels those roads. And that doesn't go just for buses. That would be for any kind of traffic based on that 16-ton capacity. I know that there's been some talk of trying to look into getting traffic control at the new 100 intersection. A couple of concerns that I have there are bringing my buses to the school in the afternoon. When I bring my buses to the school in the afternoon, they all come at the same time. In the mornings, they don't arrive all at the same time. They're staggered based on stops, route length, route time, things like that. In the afternoon, they all kind of need to be there at the same time for dismissal. So what that puts me is a best case scenario, if I stagger my starts coming from our lot and everybody doesn't get piled up at one stoplight. If everybody does, I have the potential of having 8 buses sitting in a turn lane that will right now, we could probably, 2 buses would occupy pretty much the entire turn lane there, which would leave the remainder of the buses out in the highway lane waiting to turn. So those are some of the concerns that I have. I know on top of that, we have, it seems like it's just a very short period of time, but in a short period of time, there's a lot of chaos at a school in the morning. So you have teacher arrival, which is usually a little earlier than the students and parents. But when the buses start getting there and the parents start getting there, you have the additional traffic of parents that are driving. We don't have exact numbers yet. I know we're canvassing right now to see what our ridership's going to look like. If I remember correctly, I believe the school right now has about 450 students, and I believe the numbers we came up with last time I looked into it, we have probably about 120 kids on private transportation from their parents. So you take 120 kids, divide that by whatever your family size is, and Washington come out with, say, 75, 80 vehicles arriving there along with the buses, all coming at the same time. Like I said, it's a short period of time, but it's a hectic period of time. Everybody coming through that intersection. So those are some of the concerns that we've had looking into this. Obviously, the safety of the kids and other motorists are at the forefront of everything that we want to do. So I appreciate your time and let me present that.
Did you say there were 8 buses in the evening?
There are going to be 8 buses. Right now, we have 8 buses total. We have 4 regular ed buses, three special ed buses.
Okay.
We had the potential for a 4th at this time. It depends on some coordination with the district.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
Very good, Tim. I know we have a report from the school district here.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is John McCullough. I'm from the School District of Washington. I've met some familiar faces around here, but just about to complete my first year here, so if I haven't had a chance to meet you, it's nice to meet you. From a school district perspective, we've been in contact with Mr. O'Connor, and I appreciate your responsiveness to us. Up till about Christmas time, we were hopeful that maybe something could be done at that intersection. We then determined that we needed to move forward with plans that, MoDOT, because of the pandemic and other things, is just can't get to it until next year. I believe is still the plan for the study on that corridor. Is that correct?
Well, we are going to start the study as soon as possible. We're trying to get the consultant finalized on a contract, so
Sure.
most of the study will be done in 2021.
Okay. So in the meantime, the school district has been planning what needs to be done for the intersection as it is now. So we are currently surveying our South Point parents to get an idea of how many bus riders we're going to have compared to parents bringing their students in private vehicles. At the current South Point location, it's about 60-40. It's pretty close to being even. I think that will change because of the location of the new building, and my hope is that more parents will take advantage of bus transportation. As the more kids we have on buses, obviously the less cars we have out at that site in the morning and the afternoon. The morning's not as much of an issue because, there's about a 30-minute time span that parents can drop kids off and buses arrive at different times. So it's not going to be as hectic in the morning. The afternoons, what we're focusing on, we're looking at different options such as staggered release times, getting the buses out of there first and not letting any parents go until the buses are gone. So that will help alleviate some of that. The parking lot was designed in an S shape. So as parents come in the afternoon and line up, if you've been to the current South Point, it's all the way down the street in the afternoon. So they've designed the parking lot where it's an S, so cars won't be back out on St. John's Road while they're waiting to pick up their kids in the afternoon. So there was some forethought on that. But we'll wait and see what our survey numbers look like. And then we'll continue to work with First Student on routes and the best way for buses to get there. There is, and make sure I'm correct on this, there are no buses that will be going east on 100. That's correct, right?
On New 100, that's correct.
There's only one going east, and it will use Old 100. So there'll be no buses making a left off St. John's Road onto 100. Any buses that use 100 will be making a right, which, obviously is a little safer because a bus sitting there in that intersection to turn left would obviously pose a problem.
Possible.
Yeah.
Are you going to encourage the parents then to use old?
We are certainly going to, we're going to encourage parents, first of all, to use bus transportation.
Yes.
But, it's ultimately their decision. It's their kid on how they get there. But we do feel that Old 100 for private vehicles would probably be a better route to go, I would think, so that intersection's not so backed up with the school buses and the parents. But, ultimately, that's their decision.
Yeah, Steve, I'll kind of hand it off to you as far as putting up counters or doing some type of a study or something there as this is transpiring to see what's happening or see what
That'll
can be
be
improved.
done this year.
Yeah. And MoDOT is also going to put up flashing signs, warning signs
Now you're-
on 100, slow, what are they going to say? You told me, but I
Message
forgot.
boards, they'll say.
Message
watch
boards.
traffic ahead. Or
Right, just
school traffic ahead.
for at least initially,
On 100?
Yeah.
New 100?
new 100.
Okay, both
Just-
directions?
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah, just slowing traffic or watch for turning traffic or something like that for a while till motorists get used to it. We'll also maybe reach out to the sheriff or the highway patrol, at least initially, to maybe give us a little help there, until we get used to that traffic situation.
Yeah, I'd like to see that be put in place pretty quickly, just to get people acclimated to it.
Yeah, we talked about maybe just putting them in the week before school starts and have them there, but ultimately we'll have a little bit of traffic the week before school starts as teachers and open house and those kind of things, but August 23rd is obviously the go date.
Being at that intersection for the last 6 years, I've kind of watched what's happening there and the traffic and some of the problem situations that happen. People try to go through from south St. John's Road across 100
Right.
to north St. Louis, or the road. They get caught in there with trailers behind them. There are accidents where people are thinking that when they see that turn lane as they're coming from the east going west, they think it's a third lane and
Right.
took out everything that was in between. going way too fast.
Sure.
Yes, something to slow down the people, warning them that this is
Right.
a school, entrance school, whatever. I would say get it up now, that it's gonna happen.
But we talked about August 16th,
Yeah.
putting those message boards up. That's when school's basically gonna get kicked off, and I mean, we're gonna put them up for several weeks. We're not gonna leave them in place.
Well, I mean,
Entire duration.
we had a big discussion about this last meeting, and I think most of our meeting was taken up with the discussion on safety of this intersections and what's gonna happen there. I hope that I hope that what we're planning is gonna take care of it. I hope it does.
And we shouldn't have many trying to come all the way across, because most of the homes on that side, on the south side by you, go to Clearview.
It would be great to have
So
a
they-
study of how many people live back
Yeah,
down there.
and most of those are Clearview homes, though.
Oh, they are, they go the other direction.
Yeah, they go the other direction.
That's.
Yeah, which, you know, some of those parents are wanting us to redistrict now because the school's right there, which I understand. We don't have plans to do that at the moment, we may in the future, but I would like to see something down at that intersection before we do that.
Well, I think you guys got to be on top of it, and
Yep.
a report that was done, and Tim Brinker actually sent this to me probably just after our last meeting as we discussed all this stuff, because I thought there had to be a study done to just get an idea when you bring that many people, that many new traffic items into a new area.
Right.
Somebody has to have looked at this and said.
There was in 2019, that was
It wasn't
before my time,
2019,
but there
the
was
school
one
wasn't even
done.
started.
Yeah,
In the last 2 years, there's probably been a lot of traffic added from the south.
correct,
Every day. A lot of subdivisions down there, probably more coming.
right.
LB, you know about that. Anyway, that's my concern.
Absolutely.
It's my concern, and I brought it to the board with my concerns.
Mm-hmm.
And I was more or less said, shut up and sit down. You don't know what you're talking about. So
We share your
it's-
concerns,
It's
we
an,
do.
it's an important issue to me because I see that intersection every day. I have no dog in this hunt. I could care less. I would just fear for the safety of the.
Absolutely, I agree with
That's
you.
all
and-
it is.
And like I said, I've been in contact with Mr. O'Connor, and he's been very responsive, and I appreciate that and understand the restraints that you have. And, you know, we have been working with MoDOT since 2019 to try to get at least a study done, and we have money in escrow ready to go whenever MoDOT gets to that point, and the school district's willing to do whatever we need to do to make that intersection safe.
Well, in the future, when you have something like this happening where there's going to be traffic influence, that's what we do. We come around here every month and we talk about transportation issues and safety and whatever and we call it the Washington area. It isn't just Washington. None of us basically knew what was happening up there. I mean, like I said, without Tim's report, which was 2 years old, showing up 2 days after the meeting, I wouldn't even know this. I mean, surely, I mean,
I can address some things in the report.
Yeah,
I mean, the
please.
report does say, I mean, it's a third-party report,
it is a third-party report.
and it does say traffic signals are not needed at this time. And, you know, they did say if there's growth of 2.4% over 12 years, then a signal might be needed. So that's a 33% increase in traffic over 12 years, that a signal might be needed. So right now, a signal is not needed. And, you know, our people in MoDOT knew of the report, so, I mean, we were aware of it. So-
I wasn't, you never brought it to our meeting.
Well,
that's
I
all
didn't
I'm
know
saying.
it was out there either. I mean, it was before my time, too.
I agree, and that's right, yes.
I did not know.
It just seems like a natural thing for us to look at and be concerned about and try to get resolution and help you. That's what I see it. You know, we were left out there not knowing.
But it is good to see the plans you mentioned, that we're gonna be doing the counts after school's open, that we're gonna put up some, signs, temporary, that could possibly be permanent if we felt that they were doing a good job or necessary.
And there'll be message boards, so it'll have
That's
it'll
good.
only show the message when
That's
it's
great.
pick up and drop off. It won't be all day long, because that's when.
And I think if you can tell the people from such and such times or whatever, so that they know that this is gonna be continuous, it's gonna be a one-shot deal, whatever.
I mean, the study also showed you don't need extra lanes on 100 or St. John's Road, because, I mean, that turn lane that was shown on 100 is about 250 feet long, so,
It's
I mean, it's longer than
It's longer than what.
2 school buses.
2 school buses. I was thinking more like 4, but,
I I think you get more than 4.
Well,
didn't get out walking, that was just a drive-by
Yeah. I mean, it's 250 feet plus.
yeah, yeah. But the traffic is going 70 miles an hour. I mean, some type of traffic control or some to slow the people down. They're going way too fast, all the time, all the time. Not
Steve,
just-
Stephen, are you currently interviewing folks, or are you out for proposals with your consultants?
We have a consultant picked.
You do?
Now we're just finalizing just some very
Finalizing
basic.
the agreement?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, the
that sounds
consultant's going to
good.
jump on it. We have asked him to study the St. John's intersection first at 100.
Okay,
So we're sure that'll be done in 2021.
all right.
Then once we have that information, we can go back and discuss internally what we want to do with that intersection.
Okay, well, thank you for,
And
Lighting the
one
fire
thing
there.
a lot of people are pushing is traffic signals, and, you know, MoDOT's always
I know,
leery about traffic signals.
right.
I know.
I mean, some of the things with, I mean, a lot of times people disobey traffic signals. I mean, it's a through lane, people don't want to stop at them, so they just kind of push it all the time. There's a lot of rear-end accidents at traffic signals. I mean, it's a through lane, people want to go, they don't want to be stopped at a signal. And you have a lot of rear-end accidents, so that's a big concern, because when we do put in signals, that's pretty predominant.
Well, thanks for pushing on with this and getting it to be the first part.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
And
So,
it's not, the project manager's the one that told me that he's gonna push it, and I've been talking to him
good.
often, and, I mean, he's working out Chesterfield, I'm in Festus, sorry,
Yeah, all right,
so,
okay,
so
very good.
So-
we have
Go ahead.
a lot of communication.
Okay,
Thank
but, you know, the report says that the following analysis scenarios were considered: a 2030 no-build conditions.
What that means is they project the traffic and grow that traffic over that 10-year period from the time the study was done. And then they assume nothing's been built, and they run the delays and evaluate the intersection with that as well. And that's how they come up with the recommendation that if it's 30% increase, you would get this,
Get a signal.
signal may be warranted.
Yes.
If I say that wrong, let me
I
know.
think we had that at KK. Remember how that got done? We had one person.
Did
that
these
promoter pushed it.
studies that have been made, have they taken into consideration school buses with students on them?
Yes. I mean, that's what the study was done in 2019, they knew a school was impending.
Hard to understand.
I'm hopeful that everything can come off. I just, I'm glad to see that there's going to be some proactive approaches to letting people know.
All right,
Hey, Mr. Chair. I just want to lend a little information on a meeting we had after our last meeting, and that was with Tim and John, and Lori Van Leer and I met out at the school and toured it and talked about timing on everything as well, including the paving of St. John's and Old Highway 100. That's going to be completed this year. We went out to solicited for bids right now. We're waiting for those to come back in and select a paver to do that, with the option of doing it all at one time with inclusion of St. John's Road from Old to New Highway 100. Yeah, so, and it's great, encouraging to know that there's 300,000 plus sitting there in escrow when the time comes, if justified, for signalization of that interchange at 100 and St. John's. So, you know, I understand your frustration with perhaps not having the information put forward, but the studies were done and were available and were discussed in public forums such as school board meetings, et cetera. Now, that's not this committee, but they were out and are out there and available. And in lieu of the entire report being sent, I sent a summary because the entire report's pretty lengthy and in terms of my lay capabilities, I couldn't interpret most of it, so the summary was very helpful in that. So I just wanted to give an update on that as well. It'll be, the repavement will be this year yet. It'll be at before or just at after school opens, so we'll just leave it at that right now, so, thank you.
thank you, Tim, for providing this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, again, I hope everything works out. And I apologize, which I have to do now because I evidently pissed some people off, excuse my language, in the course of what I said about this and the fact that I didn't see any activity and I didn't see a study that had been done. I knew there had to be a study done in order for this to be looked at and I didn't know there was one, all right? Quite honestly, Tim, you sent it to me 2 days after that, as I'm standing here before the 353 Corporation, explaining what I thought was gonna be the process, and got told that I was slanderous and out of place. You're making this stuff up. I'm not making anything up.
We've got the information now.
You've got the
I'll
information
have it,
now.
So
I hope it's enough. That's all I'm saying.
we'll see what happens.
We'll see what
We're going to proceed.
Got it, all right. Next item on the agenda, airport.
Yeah, update on the hangars. As I briefed at the last meeting, the hangars are ready to be bid. We met with the airport board a few days ahead of posting the actual bid documents and decided to wait on that. Steel prices were extremely volatile at the time. They are still volatile. They did actually come down a little bit last week. However, that's raw manufacturing dollars, so we're still being told that hasn't hit the actual supply chain and got down to the actual builders or manufacturers of those type of facilities. So we're still kind of in a holding pattern. I would anticipate that to probably continue into fall, kind of wintertime. My best guess is we most likely will bid it sometime in winter. But we're ready to go. The funding is there. We don't lose any funding. It's just we're kind of waiting around. Again, the idea there is it's an 8-bay hangar. We had to size it back just because of the price of material. But it has a 2 add-on to make it a 10, and then another 2 add-on to make it a 12 as alternates. Kind of the strategy there is if we're going to build it, we need to build as many as we can with the dollars we have. So it's worth it to wait and hope that things stabilize. So that's kind of where we're at. Another project, lighting. If you recall, we had some vandalism to the lighting. That's still at the manufacturing facility. It has to be programmed, but it's moving right along. There's no delays on that. It just takes time to get that done. So those are the other 2 items as far as capital projects that are going on. Operationally, things seem to be going pretty smooth. I haven't heard anything negative. So if hear any positive or negative, send them my way so I can pass along to staff.
Yeah, John, you generally give us the reports on the gallons of fuel basically consumed or sold, and that is quarterly, so we'll hopefully get that next.
Yeah, we'll do that next quarter. We did. The idea there was I was trying to take the raw data and actually put it in a graph style format so you can see how it was projected over the last 5 years rather than just look at some raw
I think it's
gallons.
maybe
So
becoming more meaningful.
we're working through that. We're still not great with making sure we get that summarized, but that's what I'm trying to do.
Very good.
And really the best way to do that is quarterly.
Good, thank you. Any other comments for the airport?
And the one thing I want to add to is the people are wondering what the big helicopter's doing over there, the big orange thing. It's called a Sky Crane, and it's setting air conditioning units at the GM plant. It's been sitting there a while, but they're working out of our airport, so
Very good.
anybody wants to know, that's what's going on.
Is there any rent involved? No.
There's no rent. No.
Well, thanks.
They are purchasing some fuel. I know they have their own fueling truck, but they are mixing some of ours. I think they can mix some.
Fuel
That's
up there
good.
when they- yeah.
Or not Avgas.
That Sky Crane lifts up to 25,000 pounds, and it's kind of interesting to see that thing, because you're sitting in the back of it in a big bubble, and you're operating while the guy behind you is flying a helicopter. I'd hate to see something happen when that cable busts, but it's pretty interesting to watch.
Have you gone over and watched?
Oh, yeah, I went to the GM plant and watched them.
Oh, wow.
And they
Cool.
were setting the first day, and it's pretty cool. I mean,
Good deal. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah.
bailiff.
I was gonna say, be careful here.
All right, any other questions, comments about the airport?
Bailiff.
Hearing none, Team Track? Anything new?
Excuse me, no report.
East-West Parkway?
The only thing to report there is the 3-story structure at the end. What's the Riverbend, I think? Riverbend Estates. They're moving forward with constructing that. I think it's been framed, and they're doing some plumbing and electrical work. That'll just add additional traffic to the addition to High Street on the north side. I know that's not East-West Parkway, but it does kind of play into that just a little bit. Keep in mind, as traffic on that section of roadway, the city does have the ability to make a right-in, right-out at Casey's General Store. We've not had any complaints, so I don't see the need to do that yet, but we have the ability to do that. As far as anything else along East West Parkway, there's nothing else to report.
Anything else? Public transportation, anything? Anybody? Any other business to go through? Joe, we didn't touch on anything in your area. Anything happening other than rivers coming up?
I mean, lots of rain. I mean, I think 11 since I've been sitting here.
Wow, there you go. All right.
A lot of rain this past.
A lot of rain, yes, yes.
But other than that, it's been busy. I mean, a lot of traffic on the trail, I will say that.
Yes,
Lots of traffic on the trail.
yeah. That's great, that's great. Any other items to bring forward? Not all.
I'll just add one more thing. The city is coordinating with MoDOT. MoDOT has a maintenance project along Highway 100 in the next few years. I know they're doing some due diligence work right now, that they're looking, some asphalt work along 100, Phoenix Center Drive, that area. So I'm working with Steven and his team to see if there's a way that we can get a couple right turn lanes, maybe added at International Drive and East 5th Street.
Yeah.
Seems to me that would be a good opportunity when they're paving, that we just do some signal improvements and try to get right turn lanes added at those two intersections. Those would be funded 100% by the city. I can't get my schedule fast enough to meet his schedule with a grant, so I have to work through that yet. We got a couple years to go through that, but we're gonna be taking some traffic counts, I think, to provide to MoDOT for that, just to convince them that this is a good idea. So,
Very good, very
we're
good.
working
That's
through
great,
that.
working with them.
Yeah, so it's very in its infancy, so don't,
Yeah.
we're working through to see if it makes
Yeah.
some help.
Speaking
I
of-
do- oh,
Go ahead, go ahead.
The traffic study that was done at Rabbit Trail did have counts on International, Rabbit Trail 100, and in talking with the consultant, that it would reduce queuing time at the international approach by approximately 20 seconds, which is pretty substantial. So that's a substantial improvement with the right turn lane there. So we're working through with MoDOT.
This is for Steve. Do they, when do they do the counts, like on the highways, different intersections and whatever? Is that by request, or do you do it every 6 months or every
I
year?
mean, we do it, I'm not sure of the schedule, but it's routine.
It's routine, it's routine in it.
Right.
Anything scheduled for Highway 100 from 44 to Washington?
I mean, we'll be doing it with our study.
It's your study?
Yeah.
Right, right. And how is that coming?
And the good thing about the study happening now is if it had happened in 2020, our counts would have been skewed because
Exactly.
there wasn't that much traffic during that time, so. And now we'll be able to also look at it with the school in session, so that'll help our counts as well.
Very good. Okay, that was my point. Okay. Anything else? Hearing nothing, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Got it. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you for all. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you all for being here.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, John.
Trying to get it. Thanks for that.
Well, it was good to hear from them.
It's hard to turn